Welcome back, Bannock folks. Thank you for joining us on this Monday. We're so glad to be here with you, presenting all the lovely stuff that we do here on the Ontario music scene. We got a lovely show for you today. We've got Chris Chapp from Eaten by Sharks talking about this Big Four show that's happening this Friday at the Warehouse. We're gonna have a great time. My band Sinner AD is also playing alongside with Duskwalker and the guys in Temple of Night. This is gonna be a crushing show. We have a contest going on, a bit of, like a draw. So if you bring a pool inflatable to the show, or some sort of inflatable. It could be a blow-up doll. It could be blow-up furniture. Anything, as long as it's not a balloon. I think that's the perimeter here. Is as long as it's not a balloon, bring up something blow-up, a beach ball, a pool floaty, anything of that sort. You'll get entered into a draw where at the end of the night you'll win T-shirts from all the bands playing, and it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna have a rad party. We highlight it all in the interview with Chris. And we also talk about this new release by the Better Lovers with Jordan Buckley. And we get talking about Keith Buckley. This was a great conversation. I'm so glad that you guys will get to see this because I thought it was a very thought-provoking conversation we had. And I'm so glad we get into it. But it's going to be nice and quick for you this week. We're going to just get in and out and like always, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Bandecdotes and like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube.
All right, guys. So with that being said, we are going to jump into the interview with Chris Chapp from Eaten by Sharks now.
Welcome back, Bannock folks. We're here with Chris Chapp of Eaten by Sharks, and we're here to talk to you about the Big Four that's coming up, the big show happening this Friday at the Warehouse, July 14th. That's with Temple of Night, my band Sinner AD, Chapp's band Eaten by Sharks, and our homie Joey Brick's band Duskwalker. And we're here to just talk a little bit about it. Super excited about this show. I'm finally glad we got to put this together. Chapp and I always are kind of working on shows in Niagara, especially geared towards the metal stuff. So we always talked about trying to get like everybody to try and play together. And sometimes it doesn't always work because everybody's schedules are different and whatnot. But this one actually managed. I got in contact with everyone early in the year and I said, here's a date that's free. And, it's a weekend. We finally get to do this. It's the Big Four. We're calling it the Big Four of Niagara. We got the four metal bands. I'm sure people, if you're not aware, the Big Four, it's like a spoof on the Big Four of America, which I'm sure we talked about it previously on the podcast, but that's, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, and
Slayer.
Slayer. They're slipping me. Which is funny because I've been
slipping.
Yeah, this is funny because I've been like telling my band, Senna, I'm like, we're Slayer on this bill. Like, when you try and play like a game with your friends when you're like 5, you're like, I'm Mega Man. Mom said I could be. You have to be Rush. Like, we're Slayer in this bill. And what would you consider yourself, Chapp?
I want to be Slayer too, man. But you said it first, so I guess I'll go Megadeth.
That's
Megadeth?
good.
You'll be Megadeth?
Well, Megadeth's good, but I really like Scotty and the Anthrax kind of vibe that he puts out. But
so you're everyone.
I'm everyone. I picked them all. Called it no races.
There you go. So yeah, this is a very exciting show. Like I said, I'm so excited we got to do this. Let's just kind of go band by band and talk about who we have on the bill here. First up, we've got Temple of Night, which our friend
Black
Tyler
metal.
here hasn't had a chance to actually check out. So let's sell it on him. Let's tell him what is he missing out on. Now, they're a black metal band, would you not say?
Oh, black metal for sure. Yeah, they got the traditional black metal in there for sure. We talked a little bit about some of the rhythms are a little bit different because their drummer Vlad, I believe his name is, he brings like a little bit of a prog rhythm to what he's doing. So it's definitely got the blast beats in there and stuff, but it's got some chunky stuff that you can really sink your teeth into. They got the whole nine, like they got the corpse paint. Everybody's got a special name. It's spooky, and they have keyboards and female vocalist that just nails like the highs and all that crazy stuff. So it's theatrical, right? We talked about that, and it's definitely going to be something to see and something that's going to be awesome to see on the show.
Yeah, they're a super cool band to see live, Tyler. Like you're gonna be blown away. Like they've got these like robes. They've got like these like fake. They're not real torches. They've got like the fake flames, but like they've got these like torches on stage. And like Chris was saying, their like the singer is a trained opera singer. So she's like doing like straight up like. I know the true black metal fans will hate that I'm about to make this comparison, but for the general masses, this is very Cradle of Filth-esque.
Okay, we like to alienate our fan base here.
Yeah. You're gonna get a show. It's gonna be like almost too much, but like it's not. Like it's just enough.
They do a little bit more than show up in the cargo shorts they woke up in.
Yes, and they don't just throw on the like corpse paint. Like that's not only the thing they do. Like they said, like they get into costume and they all have spooky names. Like we've all Sam Crowley, I believe, is the vocalist name is what he goes by. And yeah, no, it's a really cool band.
The Sam Crowley is for Electric Dead. I think he's like Griviner or something like that. For
That's
this one.
right.
So he switches it up. Yeah, like flips the hat around and changes from like what would you say, like punk rock to like black metal?
Yeah, like Psychobilly. I don't know if you've ever.
Yeah, Psychobilly's a good one.
Turns the hat around.
Yeah, just like a switch, man. Yeah.
Well, the name sounds like a D&D character, but I like it.
Temple of Night. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
It definitely sounds like a background origin of a D&D character. They came from the Temple of Night.
Oh, I meant the singer's stage name.
Oh.
Yes.
Everything D&D.
It all's D&D, yeah.
So, on a scale of primitive man to Emir, what's the moshability on this band?
Probably full-blown primitive man. You can't really mosh to this band. This isn't
we're observing.
This is a hair twirl
Taking
kind of
in.
thing. I think maybe once or twice you could get away with a circle pit, but I don't know if people do that in the black metal community. I think they just kind of do this band is really good right now.
Yeah.
Like
plug the ears, check the vocalist.
Yeah. Make sure the drummer, you're like, yeah, all right, yeah. There always seems to be that, like, with black metal. I'm not trying to take a dig at it, but, like, they're always, like, super, like, all right, he's playing, everything's good, everything's good.
They're taking pictures of, like, the amp settings. And, like...
Yeah. Nerds, real nerds.
Nerd alert, yeah.
I like me some black metal, though, so that's sick.
Yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely insane. And then next up, we have my band, Sinner AD, ripping the hat. I don't know how to talk about my own band. We like to have fun.
Yeah, no,
like a hat. Yeah.
You guys are heavy. You guys are thrashy. You guys are a tinge blackened, moshy when you need to be. Everyone loves Sinner. I don't think we need to sell anyone watching this podcast on Sinner.
No, you know what? I was actually cranking it in the car the other day, and like just the guitar work it's great.
Shout out Kyle.
It fits right in there. The solos are ripping, and then like I said, like the minors that you guys are hitting, like the tri notes and everything's all like you're just keeping it dark. And when we were talking about it, you're like, we're going into this like it's a horror movie type feel, right? And it's the whole like aesthetic, even when you guys are playing, super gnarly guitars, and then you're cutting yourself and bleeding all over the place, throwing severed heads into the crowd. I love the whole package.
Now, you can this can stay off record if you can't talk about it, but I remember talking to Kyle somewhat recently, and he was talking about just like how into like heavy ass metalcore he's been lately. Mm-hmm. And I'm just wondering, Heap of Human Ashes is definitely like a really like mosh focused song. It feels like everything's slammy. Are you guys focusing more on a mosh aspect now? And do you guys have songs in the pipeline right now? Is stuff recorded? Is stuff being recorded?
Uh, Nothing. I mean, we're a jam band at its finest. Like we have to get together and be in the room to play. We've never been much of a band to like send each other riffs. It doesn't.
Okay.
We don't really work like that. We've tried it. It just doesn't. We don't. It doesn't grasp our attention. We all need to be in the room. Jamming at the same time. That's kind of how Heap of Human Ashes kind of came together. Like he started with that beginning riff, and we just like almost in an afternoon built an entire song around it because it was an easy riff to build a song around. It was like, here we could do this, we could do this. This is cool. This sounds like this. Nothing in the pipeline right now as far as anything is written. I think we have ideas, lots of ideas. Kyle is always writing. He's like always noodling around on his guitar, we've tried to force songs to happen, and it just doesn't feel right. And like there have been several songs over the years that just get scrapped, just because the memorability of it just doesn't like stick. And like, so
it
nothing
just doesn't
written.
feel like it's working, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So nothing in the pipeline right now, but like the plan is after our big 4 show to kind of go into hibernation and like sit and focus, because a lot of us have been really busy with, it's funny that like, a show booked so far in advance can like take your focus away from like actually wanting to write, because you're going like, okay, we got to make sure our live performance is great. And it's even just for one show. Like if it was a tour, the more you play, the more you figure it out. But like since it's just the one-off, you got to make sure everything is tight. And so we're just making sure everything's good on that end. And then once the show happens, we're gonna go into hibernation mode and hopefully have an EP written. I mean, don't quote me on it.
So when you say you're going into hibernation mode, and just like hearing from the perspective of you write those songs when you're all in the room, would it be like something where like you guys could all get into like a cabin and just like spend some time and like, like take a week off and just like all like jam in there once, like
right, you're Alaska.
I've always thought about like doing that in a band. Like, okay, guys, we're all gonna take like a week. Let's all get in a room and do it. But like from your point, like it's really interesting to see how bands write music. I've been in both scenarios. Like it's the one where you all get in a room and you write the songs, or one where like there's a little bit of like noodling in the background and pre-proing and sending that kind of stuff out. It's kind of like where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm. But I do love when sometimes we'll get into into jam and someone will just start with a riff and it's like, oh, that'd be cool, but we need to then take that and start writing on top of it. But I've always loved that idea of like, everybody getting in the room and like living together for that, like, who cares? Like a weekend it could be or something, but you guys could come up with some awesome stuff.
We would certainly benefit for something like that. And actually, it's funny you say that. One of my bands years ago tried doing that, and it like epically failed. Like, like it was like 10 years ago. We went up to we planned to go up to the Williamson Cottage, but it was in the winter time. So we're like, okay, we're going to go up in the wintertime. And only, I think, 3 out of the 5 members, so it was like me, the guitarist, and the bassist that showed up. And the other 2 were like, fuck that. We're not driving 3 hours to go hang out in a cabinet in the cold. Like, we're not going to do that. And I think we wrote like 1 or 2 songs. We got some cool pictures up there, and like it could have been done and planned better, and we would definitely benefit from even just like disconnecting, like literally just all taking our phones and just shoving them in a corner and making sure that like we're absolutely not distracted.
That would be incredible. Like that's like that whole idea of like unplugging and just using your human element. Like I think we're thinking a lot about like AI. You're hearing AI like algorithms writing songs, and people are saying, "Wow, this is awesome, Jen. It's even better than." I'm like, I was just thinking about like what makes that human element that like is better than the machine. What like it's like that feeling that you get, that almost like a spiritual awakening when you get that like that riff and you're building things and you feel this like this flow coming over you where it's like you're creating. So like that's just to throw away all the technology and come up with that raw, like, and you guys have that wicked raw sound too, so that'd be sick.
Raw like onions. I don't know why onions, but
makes you cry a bit.
Onions got layers, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, and it's something I brought up before too, where it's like the problem is it can be really hard to like schedule your creativity. You know what I mean? So you're like,
Yeah.
we're gonna go here and we have this all planned out, and like I've had like tattoo appointments where it's like a month in advance, and the day of that tattoo appointment, I go, but like I am not feeling getting tattooed that day. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know how you're gonna wake up that day, so you just like I could like it's I think the idea of like going and jamming and like unplugging is so cool, but like man, imagine you're just in a bad headspace and like that's it, and then you feel like you're like tanking the writing process for other people. It's but I mean, I do think with the AI thing too, it's definitely, I don't know. I think that there's a soul in when a band gets together and like everyone's writing something, even more so than when someone's sitting in front of their DAW with like a drum loop, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
and I think that because guitars and stuff like that, and especially like high gain guitars and metal and stuff like that already have such a synthetic sound, you might be able to get like gent riffs out of that sound really cool and stuff. But the way a vocalist like your guys in Eaten by Sharks, who has like very expressive and growly stuff, or the way Phil has like a strong like kind of like, and I don't know if you're going for this, Phil, but like an impacted presence in his voice. He sounds like horrified with what he's going through in the song. There's a real emotion behind it. It's metal, but there's like a real like I don't think you might be able to sonically imitate that, but I don't think you can an AI's ever, hopefully, gonna give like an emotional take the way a real committed vocalist will. So
I like
True.
that.
I hope you're right.
I sincerely hope so too. But I do selfishly really want an AI where I can just be like, write drums for my song. Let's go.
Right.
Just click and drag, and it's like, here, I got it. You don't even have to hit a button, buddy.
It's getting there, especially with like all the all the add-ons you can do when you're producing things. You can get like, you don't even have to have a bass guitar. You don't have to have drums, right? That's been the longest one running, where you can just pre-program drums and stuff. And they're getting so good. Like they sound like if you really tweak them a specific way, they can sound like an actual drummer in a room, right?
You have to start to really listen for the actual patterns, not the sound of them anymore.
Yeah. Like the classic thing, I always do it where I'll write some drums and then I'll bring it to practice or send it to the drummer. And he's like, nope, I can't do that.
Not enough limbs, buddy.
Yeah. Triple bass, no.
Yeah, I mean the fake drums is like almost like an industry thing now. What's that one band, Spirit Box? Their one record is all fake drums.
A lot of records are. I think it would shock you how many bands still use fake drums.
Really?
Or even just really, like stuff gets replaced with like trigger effects and stuff. There's a lot going on. Like there's purist bands out there for sure that make a commitment to not use stuff like that, but like everyone's using fake drums and amp sims. There's a lot of that going on.
Well, I think Meg, like talking about the Big Four, shooting it back to that, Megadeth was one of the first bands to put out like snapping things to the grid. So like you take it and you push it straight on, like the drummer will play, it'll sound great, but then they'll just go in and just make it perfect. And now that's like you've got
Quantize
drum programs, like just quantize it, boom, click of a button now, and you can just get it done.
It's all timed. Yep, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. That's insane. Speaking of the Big Four, let's talk a bit about Eaten by Sharks. Now, you guys put out your record out. Was it August of last year, or was it
August? Yeah, last year.
Yeah, and Eradication.
Yep.
Yes. See, I can off the top of my head. Great record. Good. I love it. You guys have a great mixture of the tech death and like you guys have hardcore elements in it. Like it's really cool how you guys mix it all together. And you guys have been a band for quite a while, haven't you?
Yeah, we started. We got together probably around and started playing in like 2000. I think 11, maybe. Wow. Something like that. Yeah. It was, and then we stopped at like 2013, I think it was. So,
right, you guys took a bit of a hiatus and did other projects and came back to it. But the fact that you guys kind of breathed air back into this project, that was super cool. I mean, you guys had we're gonna need a bigger boat EP.
Yeah, we put 5-song EP, 5 songs, 11 minutes, I think.
Oh wow.
It was like no riff we had the philosophy, let's just not return to any riffs. Let's just kind of go forward. You know, riff 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Maybe bring 5 back, and then that's it. But
Right.
I matured since then, and I'm like, okay, I need to do get some repetition in there because like people are starting to get pissed.
Do you play any of those songs live?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We still play the old ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Sometimes, you know, like bands don't love playing their old stuff, and I like, you know, there's only so many songs a band has sometimes, right? So like I get it. Do you guys have anything new in the pocket?
Nothing really. We've got some time actually hashed out. I think September is looking like a month that we're kind of going to take a break, and then like in the winter going to try to cool it off in November and December to start getting back to writing, because like we want to get back in the studio, and possibly the guy that we want to go with, he's already booking into 2024, so we got to get on that like sooner than later.
ASAP. Now you folks recorded with a member from Cryptopsy, right?
Yeah, a guy who plays guitar currently in Cryptopsy, Christian.
That's super cool.
Donaldson. Yeah.
How was that experience?
It was amazing. It turned out to be through the pandemic, like kind of tricky because we kept having to cancel it because it was pretty intense back then. But it just turned out that we were supposed to go stay at the studio for like a week, and then he called us up and said, "Hey, do you want to just stay at my place? I've got a recording area here. We can still go to the studio, travel there, but you can just stay with me in my basement." So he opened up his house to us. We had some, you know, barbecues out back with him, sat out by the fire, like in between, like doing all the tracks for our album, and it was quite the experience.
It's funny how like being in that presence is like you're working, but it's also a relaxed element where like, hey, we're having fun, like you're staying with me, but like when it comes to coming to the studio, like all bets are off. Like it's working time. Like we gotta like it's go time. It's funny how that is. How like someone who is like a friend and who is also being like your host also is gonna like almost not be your boss, but like he is the one in charge.
Yeah, he's definitely he's steering the ship. That's for sure, steering the boat, for lack of a better word there. So he's definitely like it was pro. Like when it came down to it, his tracking he and I were working together on some riffs and stuff like that. Like him being able to troubleshoot, and like I was having problems with some things getting them on time, and like he's like, okay, we'll try these things, and it made everything go really quick, and we're still able to get a quality recording out of it. So it was interesting to see and learn a few things too.
Were you at all like stressed that you had to play guitar in front of this guy?
Yeah, I was like warming up every day. I had like that little like hand grip vice thing. I was like, okay, come on, like make sure the fingers work. And of course, like I still sucked, but you know, I thought I was getting there. Yeah, every day just practicing the same thing over and over. Yeah,
and it's the worst when as soon as you're like not in his presence, you're like, I'm nailing everything perfect. What the fuck? Like you're taking videos, being like, guy, I'm not as bad as you think I am. Look.
Yeah,
look.
Exactly. Yeah, like I just fear, like, you know, getting out of the studio. It's like, okay, good job. And then he shuts the door. Like, oh my god.
How much makeup I'm gonna put on this pig? Like Jesus Christ.
Polished turd.
No, I love it. Eaten by Sharks. I love the element you have about the band. Like there's all these shark themes. Anytime that you make a post.
The first lyrics on the album, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, like that's like that album was the first time I had heard you guys, and I just like for some reason thought you guys were going to be like this super serious tech metal band, and I thought the name, I'm like, Eaten by Sharks is like a weird name for a serious band, and as soon as I heard that vocal line, it contextualized the whole band for me in such a fun way, and I was like, okay, this is like, it has like the technicality of something like Between the Buried and Me and stuff like that, but like the singer is clearly having fun with what he's doing, and it makes it so much more fun to listen to. Like, the no smiling rule thing is such a, like, bummer for me.
Yeah, it's we actually didn't think this, but we got a lot of comparisons to Death Clock, just because of, you know, like, that kind of tongue-in-cheek approach to it,
Yeah, well, now that you mention it, they actually have a song that's called Go Into the Water, so, like, he even says like "go into the water," like
Yeah.
So now that you say like, I
You
can
guys
see,
bark back.
Yeah, no, I see.
We got to do a part 2.
That's right. Or you got to play with Death Clock. Jesus, that'd be cool.
I know. I'd love to be a cartoon. That'd be sick.
That movie's coming out soon.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Super stoked that you guys are playing this, Bill. This is going to be a good time. And I love the imagery that you always put with like that goes hand in hand with Eaten by Sharks. Like the album artwork is super cool, but like a lot of your cool like shirts that you guys do are super like intense, just the same kind of like intensity as the album artwork, and it's all like things shark themes and like sea creature themes, like. You know, what's in my nightmares essentially is on your t-shirts.
Yeah. That's I love that. That's what we're going for. So I actually went to go get some chlorine for my pool the other day. Now I'm leading into something here, but I got my inflatable sharks. Got my blow-up
Nice.
sharks for the show, buddy. Yeah.
Perfect. So, like Chris just said, we're encouraging everyone who is attending the show this Friday at the warehouse to bring anything inflatable guitars, pool floaties, and blow-up dolls, like absolutely anything that's like a blow-up thing. And you'll get entered into a draw where we'll pick up your name at the end of the night, just before Duskwalker's about to play, and everybody will get a t-shirt, and everybody from the band's playing. You get a Sinner shirt, Duskwalker, and a Shark shirt. So, yeah, very excited to that. We're just going to try to make this a party. Let's make this absolutely ridiculous. Like, we're just trying to elevate our show and just trying to make everybody just have a better time just at a local show. We're just trying to, because... You know, you go to shows so often that they can kind of feel repetitive. And so we're just trying to make something more of this. We're trying to make it a little bit more memorable and just something that somebody can take home with them, being like, remember that show that we played, or remember that show that we attended where there was just a bunch of inflatables and everybody got covered in blood? Like,
Wait, what? Are you going to start spraying blood on people now, Phil?
Spoiler alert.
Oh my god.
I encourage everyone to bring kiddie pools
and fill them up with blood.
Yes.
Kiddie pool, like to bath your cat, like a kitty pool? Because I got some of those too.
No, I mean
cats,
like.
So we bring cats. I got 14. Yeah.
You just made me realize how strange calling it a kiddie pool is. Why is it called that? Why not like, ooh, my kiddie pool? Why is it called that? I never thought about that. I haven't said that word. This might be the first time in my life. So
could you imagine going to the store, a 47-year-old man like myself with this beard, and going, where's the kiddie pools?
I need a couple. I
need
need more than one.
Yeah.
I need a couple employees to help me bring out these kiddie pools to
And
my truck.
where's the Jello aisle?
Warehouse is never booking you again.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna go out like big. So everybody will remember. Yeah, why can't you play there? It starts with Jello, ends with kiddie pools. Yeah.
Want this place looking like Port Dalhousie by the end.
Now, I think we can get into our last band that's playing the Big Four of Niagara. We're calling it Duskwalker. Now, these guys are heavy as shit. Tyler, again, isn't necessarily as familiar with them, but, like, they're super cool. They're, like, death metal driven. Joey even showed some of the new songs that they'll be playing.
Yeah.
So the new stuff that they haven't even released is super cool. He's kind of got, like, a Randy Blythe sound going for him. I don't even know if I could say that. Maybe
it was fast, too.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was fast. Super cool stuff. Joey, who is one of the radio hosts of 97.7, actually started like in like those like screamers or like horror houses in like Niagara Falls, where like he would be like, "I'm going to kill you," and like things like that. And then so like that's where he kind of got his start for doing all the like the vocal work. And then I think
cool.
I asked him how he ended up getting into radio, and he was just like, I wanted to do a job where I wanted to come in every work and love it every day. And he saw someone doing radio and thought that would be cool and just literally ran with it. And now he's like a fairly local hero amongst people on the, a lot of people tune into his radio shows, and the fact that his band is headlining this gig, I said it when we were on his radio show, but like, they are the Metallica of the Big Four. There's no doubt.
No, guaranteed. Yeah.
You're the other three, chap. You're the other three bands. You called it.
Okay.
And they're Metallica.
Yeah.
And we're the roadies, I guess.
No, man, you're Slayer. We could all be Slayer.
We could all
Yeah.
be Slayer.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of Slayer enough to go around for everybody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, super heavy. He's got those really, I like to refer to them as chocolatey growls, kind of thing. Like
Chocolatey growls. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I like to call them. I think you would really dig them. Very heavy, which I really like about this bill is like everybody's bringing a different kind of element of metal to the table here.
Which is the St. Catharines scene, it seems, is like that. It's very mixed.
Yeah, there's not too much tailored stuff. There's like, like enough to create builds like this, but like, again, you're not going to find 4 black metal bands. You're not going to find 4 tech death bands. You're not going to find 4 deathcore bands, and you're not going to find 4 death metal bands. It's all going to be variations. There's going to be metalcores. There's lots of metalcore happening in Niagara, which is super cool. But like, yeah, it is very branched out. There's like a tree of Niagara metal that branches in almost every direction.
Did you see that that little graphic that I think Crimson Asphalt put out?
I did.
The Ontario, like whatever, like what it looks like on a map, and then all of the band logos from all of like the metal bands are out. It's pretty impressive to see that.
And
Yeah, I saw that.
As someone who's, kind of keeps the fingers on the pulse of the Ontario music scene, I can tell you that is just a small fraction. That is just the metal, right? They weren't even touching on the hardcore aspect that's going on in Ontario right now. So there's so much. It's fruitful. It is like you could literally pick it from a tree. If you're in any sort of position where you want to get into aggressive music and find yourself burnt out from a lot of the mainstream ones. We call them mainstream ones, but they're still quite underground. But if you feel like you want to get into something more, literally the Southern Ontario music scene is absolutely insane. It was bountiful of genres and music.
I saved that picture to use as reference for getting music for this show for new releases, because that is so useful. It's like 30 plus bands.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and like I said, like that's only a small fraction. There's only more, because more pop up every day, which is super cool. And that's what I mean, not to derive from what we were just talking about, but that's kind of the reason why I started doing this podcast, was because like the local music scene is always just growing. I mean, I even had someone ask me, like, do you think you're going to write yourself into a corner? Do you think you're going to exhaust all the local bands? I'm going to be like, no, because I'm going to do a whole year of interviews, and by the end of that year, there's going to be a handful of other bands that I'm going to need to interview that have just popped up.
I try to see this channel as like the closest we can get to like the modern day scene board again, where we have like a hub, you know what I mean? And we're all communicating, everyone's listening to everyone's music. We're all, doing our best to be aware of each other's stuff and prop each other up. So I miss having that hub.
That's it's cool to see, like we're starting to see bands from the Niagara region as well, like branch out and starting to play out of town shows a lot more, get on like weekend warrior runs. It's cool to see like a lot of shows coming, then a lot of bands from like other areas in Ontario, different markets, coming to Niagara and starting to put shows on. Because for the longest time we just had the warehouse, right? We just had the warehouse as pretty much a show. Now there's like little places popping up all over the place where you can do, like, you don't have to do like a medium sized room. You can get into like a bar that's just can fill 50 or 100 people, and it's a good time, right?
Yeah, the Big Four, everyone. We're going to have a good time. Make sure you come out. It's going to be an absolute blast. Bring your inflatables. Bring your sharks. Bring your inflatable tubes. No noodles.
Bring your kiddie pools.
Bring your kiddie pools.
Inflatable sharks.
Leave the Jello at home.
Jello, blood. Bring your own blood.
Bring your blood.
BYOB, bring your own blood. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. Is there anything else we need to plug or say about this show other than have fun and be safe?
Definitely. Like, just to kind of amplify what you're saying even more, I think this is going to be an awesome show. It's like dead set in the middle of summer here, right? So, people are off school. It's time to go out and party a bit. Like, let's throw one down at the warehouse and like make it something for everybody to remember. You can't go wrong with the 4 bands we got. And then adding all the gravy on top with inflatables. Phil's gonna like puke blood on everybody.
As he does.
Heads, inflatable sharks.
And we don't know how long Sinner's going to go into hibernation. So come out, see this show. This is a big show. Let's go.
Let's go.
You know what? To add on top of that too, we're not going to be playing locally for a while after this.
There,
so.
2 bands in hibernation. Are you guys crazy?
And if you want to come up in costumes, if you want to show up in costumes too, just to make this more of a party, do that too. Costumes are fun.
Yeah. Fuck it, I'm going into hibernation.
You heard that here first. Tyler's going into hibernation. We don't know when he's going to come out.
And know what? After this show, everybody goes to the show. After it is going into hibernation.
There you go.
That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Lovely.
I do think it's important to mention that I can't stop thinking about how awesome of a tour name We're All Slayer would be. The We're All Slayer tour.
We're All Slayer?
Yeah.
We're All Slayer. That's so sick.
That's so good. It's just
You know what? I did see. I saw. Revocation. Those guys.
Yeah.
They did a Halloween show, and they were supposed to be the Marvel superheroes.
Nice.
And everybody picked whoever it was, but the one guy came out as Spider-Man, and then the next guy's like the Incredible Hulk. He comes out as Spider-Man. The other guy comes out as Spider-Man. They all dressed up as Spider-Man for the show.
So funny.
And they obviously did the meme where they all pointed at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. We could totally end it there, guys. Right on, folks. There you have it. That was our conversation with Chap. We had such a good time talking about this awesome show that you definitely have to come out to. But moving right along, we're going to get on to another subject that has been a hot debate, actually, between... Well, not even a debate, just something that we've been excited to be talking about. The band Better Lovers, which is Jordan Buckley and the other guys from Every Time I Die, which is Goose and Mitch. Their band just released a brand new EP, and it's amazing. It's great. It's fast. It's got everything you want. I especially like what I really like, without getting too much into it, is I really like that there are various, very obvious riffs written by Jordan.
Let's just get fully into it. Yeah, we'll do a full review of the EP. I remember telling you this before we recorded. There you go, guys, behind the scenes. When I first heard it, I remember saying this is the first time in my life I've genuinely wished that like a band's release was longer. I wish there was more music to hear because this is awesome. The first song on here is it's just an exact reminder why I don't want to live in a world where I don't hear Jordan Buckley's riffs.
Yeah.
They're so good. It gives me like Gutter Phenomenon, and the whole EP gives me Big from Parts Unknown. Like, that's the record I feel like I'm hearing. And Greg sounds... the first song, Sacrificial Participant, it sounds like... It's the closest one to sounding like an actual Every Time I Die song with Greg on it instead.
Yeah.
But it works so well. The hook on it is so nice. The way they go into that, like, break halfway through the song and everything just stops and there's just that sort of glimmery guitar for a little bit, and then they just go right back into that big chorus, and like the southiness in this, the southern fried riffs, like they're bringing that whole style back. It feels like I really hope we get a big ass revival of just super southern hardcore.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I can articulate it better than that, but like this was such an exciting, fun release, and like you said at the top there are not too many releases I hear where I'm like, I need more of this. But this was a great example. Like, I think only 15 minutes worth of music was just not enough for me. Like, I needed to hear it all. The songs came through so great. The beginning, and I was just how we got into this. There's riffs that you can tell that are Jordan Buckley, and then you can hear the Will Putney inspiration behind all this. And
they basically have an one of the best audio engineers in the industry.
Yeah,
in their band with them. Going into the next track quickly too, 13 Under 30. We heard it when it came out. We loved it, but I feel like it feels more contextualized now. And when this song gets played, like, this song is a certified venue destroyer.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
like,
yeah.
good luck to all venue owners and bookers, because this song is written to get and this makes me realize why I missed Every Time I Die so much. Halfway through the song, when they go into that super tremolo with the and then it goes super fast, and then the way it goes into the two-step riff after that,
Yeah.
like, just goes super low and just goes into that two-step riff. That is Every Time I Die to a T, and other bands do it, but there's just such a flavor in the way Jordan writes his shit. I've always kind of wondered in those bands, you know what I mean? What is Andy writing and what is Jordan writing? And I think this really helps contextualize who was doing what in that band.
Yeah. I always kind of had a rough idea, but this, absolutely solidifies that. And, like, you mentioned it, we got to give Goose and Mitch a little bit more. Like, I want to give them some more credit. Like, I loved From Parts Unknown. That was actually... It's not better than Low Teens, but it's certainly up there to be up there. Like, it's certainly...
Those are my top two.
Yeah, exactly, top two. And to say that, like, a band's latest record, especially with a career as long as Every Time I Die, with the kind of music that they play, to say that, like, it's up there is, like, unheard of. But, like, Goose, who used to play in Fear Before the March of Flames, is just the perfect drummer for... Let's just say Jordan. Like, he follows those riffs so well, and he is so fucking in on it. Like, he writes the drums perfect to, like, how he writes his Jordan's riffs, and I'm so glad that, like, it wasn't just like a one-off, because, you know, that was the only time we had ever heard Goose on an Every Time I Die record was from their last record, Radical,
yeah.
So to hear that this is where the band is at is exciting.
Or Become So Small, I just wrote down holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the probably the heaviest song on here. Invigorated. It feels like a new spark has been... He really is giving, like, the vocal performances of his life on these things. He sounds totally unhinged.
I love that he's using his full range of vocals with this band.
Oh, yeah.
And then the last song there, God Has Made Me an Animal.
God Made Me an Animal, yeah. That's,
yeah.
Again, super southern sounding, but, a really interesting track. It gets a little soft at the end. I really, really like the God Made Me an Animal scream at the end. Like, just kind of tying... Like, kind of, like, setting the message that this is about being heavy in a way. Like, yeah, no, I messaged you as soon as I had finished listening to this, and I was like, this is incredible. Like, this is just, like... I was counting on liking this band so bad, because, again, I didn't know... this band is making me realize why I liked Every Time I Die so much. And as much as I love Keith and the lyrics of Every Time I Die... It's that fucking guitar work. Like, I love Keith and I love the lyrics to Every Time I Die, but if I have to choose the Jordan's guitar work or Keith's lyrics and vocal delivery, I'm going Jordan's guitar work. And I think I finally get that now. But maybe if Keith comes through with something crazy, that we can shift the tides there a bit. We want to talk about what Keith's supergroup would have to be to actually compete with Better Lovers at this point, because in my opinion, Better Lovers is like the millennials' penultimate supergroup.
Yeah, no.
This is it for us. This is our Police or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's got to be a supergroup. You know, like, I was always excited years ago when the band, and if I'm not mistaken, you showed me this band, the band Drugs. Remember that band? They were like a super band, and I was like, it's not going to get better than this. And, like, here we are with Better Lovers. Yes, Keith, with this new project, he can't just come to the table with a bunch of unknowns. It would be very bold, and it would be like it would obviously, like, fade in the background because you have all these, like, names on with Better Lovers. I think Josh Scoggin needs to be involved somehow. They parallel so well together, especially with that last song that they did on the last record. And they've toured together endlessly. These bands have, like, they kind of go hand in hand when you talk about Every Time I Die. Like Cherry can kind of be the other side of that coin, where it's like same heaviness, but same mom, different dad. Like,
yeah. It would be interesting to hear them do a what their vocals would sound like layered. If you had someone like Josh Scogin screaming over Keith Buckley singing like a Fall of Troy almost, like back and forth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be I don't think anyone would expect something like that either. I think the thing is now too, and this is what Better Lovers has contextualized for me so much, is what does Keith's band sound like sonically? Because sonically, Every Time I Die, the character that they have, Keith is a big part of that, but again, it's become very clear to me that, a song like Decaying with the Boys, that's memorable way more because of Jordan than Keith, in my humble opinion. Mm-hmm. So I think that, like, what is Keith's signature sound? Is it just shrieky vocals, the singing he does, and really, like, well-written metaphorical lyrics, or does he do a band that sounds like Every Time I Die, or is that distasteful?
Yeah, because
write riffs like my brother.
In the past, Keith has done guest vocal appearances, and he's done even like weird. I forget. He had a side project where he was doing like acoustic, and it was very different. I can't remember. It was short lived.
I don't even necessarily like when he does guest vocals. I know I on the Knocked Loose track he was on, I was so excited to hear it, and it just truly kind of felt out of place for me.
Yeah, and well, you can always, he sticks out like a sore thumb because
of course,
he's just so recognizable. So I remember him doing things like that. So you have to be right, because you're right. Keith is quite literally the cherry on top of Every Time I Die. When I say that, he is on top of a delicious bowl of ice cream that would otherwise be good without that cherry. But with that cherry now, we got to make like cherry cola or something. We got to make cherry ice cream.
Yeah.
We got to do something, because without, a bowl of cherries is not as good as a sundae. There's no doubt in that. So we need to see something out of this bowl of cherries.
But a sundae is infinitely better with a cherry on it.
Exactly. So
okay, that's such a good metaphor. And such a good way of looking at it, actually. I thought about maybe Josh Middleton from Architects, and I think his other band's called Silosis. I'm not as familiar with them, but I know he recently left Architects. I know he has another full-time band, but it also means that his full-time career band, he is no longer like a time sink for him. Mm-hmm. And he's an incredible audio engineer as well. He's on that level of Will Putney in the music scene. So now I think the ultimate curveball is so I think the obvious thing to say here is, what if he came back with Andy? And right. I think we all know that would be really cool. But hear me out. What if he came back with Andy and Rat Boy?
Yeah, that'd be so sick. Yeah, no, I've always loved Rat Boy's drumming, and the way that they fell out with that band, it was just, I think they just,
it felt like a family breaking up.
Yeah, so I would love to see Rat Boy playing music again, especially with the boys. And you mentioned Josh Middleton, which I could totally see happening. And, you said Middleton, and my brain also went to Scott Middleton. So if we had the Middleton brothers involved, they're not brothers, but if we had Scott Middleton and Josh Middleton involved somehow, that would be an ultimate lineup. Now, it's highly unlikely. I think I even spoke to Scott recently. It's like, I don't think he's doing anything like that. But, we can always wish, because that would be riff heavy.
Yeah, Scott Middleton would be a really interesting pick as well. I think he's too busy to be in, like,
I think so,
the
too.
type of
Not
band,
before,
like, because, like, yeah, because I remember famously, too, like, Every Time I Die has always been, like, a really consistently touring band, no matter how old they get, to the point where, like, Keith's records started to, like, his lyrics started to become about basically how that was tearing his life apart.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But yeah, it's really interesting. Now, I haven't been, other than Rat Boy, I can't really think of, like maybe they could get, like, Joey Jordan. Is Joey Jordison dead?
Yeah, he died.
Yeah, he died. Oh my god, I forgot about that. So
but that'd be cool if you got him.
Yeah, if we can bring him back. Basis.
Yeah.
Flea. from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Just fucking just a breakdown.
Yeah.
Students.
What other bassist do we have? Fat Mike. That's it.
That would be. Imagine Keith just started a punk band.
Ooh.
Let's hold on.
Let's throw this into the mix.
See, my worry is Keith is gonna do some like, wasn't he doing like spoken word at one point? Like he's just like people were paying to just like listen to him like wax poetically.
He was doing like I don't think he was. I think he had some poetry that he was reading, but the most of the show was him doing like talking to the audience in like Q&A sessions, and I think he played a couple songs acoustically and sang them, which was an odd thing to do. That was almost immediately after the band broke up too, so it was like there was no air in between. It was awfully strange.
I wonder now that I'm really thinking about it if like, does it even really make sense to try to start like a rival heavy band or something like that? I wonder if like the graceful, not the graceful thing, I can't speak for him, and if he wants to be a musician, I mean, he's a career musician, he's gonna have people knocking down his door to work with him,
right? But
like even the vibe I started to get around the Low Teens days was Keith was starting to get over touring more than the other boys were. It's really weird to hear a story about someone getting sober and that alienating everyone in their life. That's why when I initially heard about this beef, I immediately defaulted to being on Keith's side, because I just didn't really... I was like, I don't understand how, like just respecting someone's sobriety could be a problem, but I don't think... It doesn't sound like that was the case. It sounds like maybe things were getting super blown out of proportion. I don't know. It was weird to see, like, a band like that having, like, open drama with each other. It's very strange.
Yeah, and it's the only way that band could have broken up, because you said yourself earlier that they were tour monsters, that like the only way that this band would have had to disband would have had to have been something ugly. And when you have someone like, so I can't speak from experience because neither of my siblings are musicians, but if I were to ever play in a band like them, you have to imagine like you have like things that you've dealt with since you were children. You have things that like maybe you're necessarily like you ruined my favorite shirt in high school kind of shit. Like things like that you have to like imagine in a band situation. You have to imagine like this band also having such a long career that there probably been moments like, yo, that tour back in 03, like you really fucked me over. Like there's gotta be more that obviously doesn't need to be surfaced, and I'm not saying like that's not what I'm asking for, but obviously you have to almost account for that, because family, that's just family. They've lived, they're brothers. Like it's a shame that it ended up that way, and it's hard for me even to take sides. It's at this point I'm just excited about the music. That's really it's all but like. Yeah, to hear a story like that and him change so much in his life that like we need to see some, like, I don't know, maybe he is just gonna go full on song. There's a lot of things that could happen.
Maybe he just retires.
Yeah, maybe he is.
It just gracefully retires. I mean, he's a legend. I've been saying this since fucking the New Junk Aesthetic. Okay, that was the first album where I ever said, you know what, this could be their last record, and they would have went out with such a bang. And then they put out
X-Lives,
and I was like, this is the swan song.
Yeah.
And then they put out From Parts Unknown, and I'm like, this has to be it. And then they put out Low Teens, and I'm like, come on!
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing this? And I wasn't as big on Radical as I was on Low Teens.
No.
And Low Teens was an album where when it came out, I literally listened to it like every day for a year straight. Like, it was insane. It was like the only band I was listening to for like a really long time. So like
those songs live are fucking fantastic, man. When you're in Buffalo at fucking Tid the Season and they're closing the set with Map Change and you're just surrounded by all the idiots just singing the song gracefully, and it's just like this emotion that sweeps over you.
Yeah.
Like it almost brings tears to the eyes. Like it is fucking fantastic, that record.
Yeah, there's certain songs that, like, sometimes, like, I'll just be, like, singing along, like, doing some vocal practice and dicking around, like a song like Religion of Speed, and I'll be, like, welling up at the end of it. I'm like, this is just so... Man, and it got a song like Religion Like Speed, where, like, the ending, instead of doing the breakdown slower, is the chorus slower. Yeah. Like, it's just so... They always just seem to outdo themselves every album they went, basic, like, for the most part. Like, they stayed so consistent, at least. No matter what your favorite Every Time I Die record is or not, like, such a consistent band. And you were right from the very beginning. Like, Keith is the cherry on top. Like, just thinking about Every Time I Die now, like, it's, even with Better Lovers existing, it does kind of suck to know that we're never gonna get another one of those records. We also have to look at the second side of the coin of what you were saying before about the family drama.
Yep.
And it's that Keith and Jordan are literally family. And, like, the members of this band have been playing together since the 90s. So, like, these guys are family. So I don't think Keith is going to go to the grave hating Jordan and vice versa. I think that Better Lovers is going to be a consistent band, and maybe, like, 5 years from now, we're getting, like, an Every Time I Die reunion show. And they're not writing an album, but we're getting those celebrations, and hopefully everyone's all happy, and Better Lovers has a song that features Keith, and everyone feels good. That's my hope.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be amazing. That would be kind of like what Poison the Well does, where they are an active band, but they're not putting new music out because, let's face it, we don't need a Poison the Well record in 2023.
There are so many bands that need to learn this lesson.
And so, yeah, 5 years, 10 years from now, I hope that scenario plays out. I hope we see a Tid the Season again, and it's Every Time I Die closing off the night, but also Better Levels is on the bill, as well as Damn Things. Like, everything just kind of just go. I would love to see this end well, and I think you're right. I think a part of me knows that Keith is a very, very intelligent spoken person, and a part of me knows that he will, not to say that, like, it goes hand in hand, but I feel like the smoke will settle, and a band will be a thing of the past, and it'll be about their relationship with each other.
100%. Now, speaking of the E-Tid Christmas shows, can Better Lovers do Christmas shows?
Oh yeah, see, this would be weird. So this would be weird if we're.
Is that distasteful? Now, shout out to Tyler Coverdale if you're watching. He responded to my thread about this. Follow me on Threads, guys. Let's all get on Threads. Oh. And he said they should do Halloween shows, and I think that makes total sense.
Ooh, that's
beautiful, great passing of the torch.
Mm-hmm. That would be a good way to, and then it doesn't even matter if Keith has a band and one of them did, like, as long as if one did a Halloween show and one did a Christmas show, great, we're fine. But if we're getting two Christmas shows, that's not good. That's terrible. But Halloween, I would love to see that, especially because someone who is as charismatic as Jordan, it would come out with some stupid gimmick with the costume. Like, you might see the Wiggles play. They would dress up as the Wiggles or something. You know what I mean? Like, you would get something fun out of a Halloween show, especially with Better Lovers.
And if you've never even seen footage of Every Time I Die's Christmas show, it's not even about the performance. It's about when you see footage of them passing out the cabinets from the stage to the audience. Like, it's not even. They're not throwing out drumsticks. They're giving away the entire cabinets and the amp heads, and, like, there's people fighting each other for, like, bass guitars, and, like, it's absolutely crazy the shit they pull off there.
and of course, I was there the one year when Jordan pulled off the mind eraser. He explained it in a video that I've seen. He's got several tricks and things in his back pocket in case anything ever happens, but he's got something called the mind eraser, which I have also adapted in Hellbent sets. So if something happens earlier in a set where someone kind of fucks up and it's very obvious, what you need to do is mind erase them, which is you need to do something so extra ridiculous that is what they're talking about, and that's what they remember. So in this case, something happened earlier in the set where there was something that was very obvious that happened. I think it was during the song with the piano on from More. I think the piano was weird. Anyway, so they did the map. They did map change, and at the end, he just kept playing that riff for like 45 minutes. Like,
What?
Like the lights were on. I had already left. I had heard him. He was still playing.
Like people are just like drinking at the bar.
Yeah, and I think at one point he crowd surfed to a different part while playing the whole time. I think at one point he was tuning while playing the riff. Like, we need to see some sort of amends happen, and whether we get another project from Keith, hopefully we do. If we don't, I mean, sure, that's okay. I mean, sometimes you can't always get what you want. But at the end of the day, what's most important overall before music and anything is that these two brothers eventually call it and they can be friends again. And as someone who has a brother who constantly gets on my nerves, shout out Dan Paxton, I relate to this, and oftentimes I have to tell myself, listen, he's your brother. You know, you only got one of them, so let's roll with it. And hopefully there's some sort of similar mindset involved when it comes to the two of them.
I can imagine. Yeah, I can't see them. That would be a sad world. You know what I mean? If that was the case. So I think
Yeah, if it was like the Gallagher brothers, and you're just like, oh my god, they're on Twitter again.
One benefit to Every Time I Die breaking up is that it now seems perfectly tasteful to have like a very Every Time I Die sounding band, because now you're not emulating an active band. That's there's not many bands that sound like that anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and like
we need another Decay In with the Boy. God, I fucking love that song so much. Perfect song.
It's a great video too.
Oh, I know. Is it One Shot?
I don't think it's not the one shot, but it's just a party.
It's like and it's a continuation of the video Idiot, where Idiot ends, someone walks by them into the Decaying with the Boys video.
Yeah.
Oh my god, in that video when the dude just like pulls his pants down and just has a condom on for no reason. It's so fucking weird. Like Jordan flicks it.
Yeah, it's so good. Every Time I Die. Rest in peace, Etid.
All right, guys. So we are going to jump into our recommendations, and we're going to let you get out of here. And we're going to see you at the show on Friday, right?
That's
we better
right.
see you at that. I better see your cute face at that dang show.
See, what people don't know is I've actually downloaded this illegal software that lets me see who is actually watching. So, Rob, Brad, Josh, I see you guys. I see you all, and you're coming. And if I don't see you there, you're done. So you better be there. I can see you. All right, let's get into our weekly recommendations. Tyler, what have you been listening to? Tell me.
I thought I'd give us a big old throwback on this one. We were talking with Chap earlier, and it got me thinking about extreme and crazy metal bands. And I thought I'd go back to one of the first ones I got into, which was a little band from back in the day. I don't know if you remember them. Do you remember From a Second Story Window?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they were a band that really came out of that era where, like, there was absolutely no blueprint on how to do this yet whatsoever. So they are a strange band. They're all over the place, very unconventional song structures, just pure chaos. They famously said at one point that they make music for people with ADHD, which is like a little dumb, but whatever. Songs like Soft Green Fields, The Crusher, A Piece of History Written in English, Lights Above Us, super awesome, pure MySpace core. These were the songs that were always on people's MySpace pages. Really, really standout thing about this band and this album is a song on here called Ghosts Over Japan. Now, do you remember this song?
Yeah, this song's
Ghosts Over Japan is like a piano ballad. There's no guitar in it at all, but there's double kick bass throughout the song and stuff. It's such an interesting song. It's a piano ballad. It's really, really pretty, but as the song goes on, to give it a sense of rise, they start to make the drums crazier instead, and then by the end, the drummer is going full double kick over a piano solo. And there's no distorted guitars. There's no guitars, period. There's no screaming. It is a guy singing like Coldplay and just double kick. It is so sick. As far as I know, they're the only band that has ever put double kick over a piano ballad. So check out Delanda by From a Second Story Window. Sick album. What are you recommending?
So lately, I started a brand new job, and I work with somebody. Shoutouts, Dr. Dilated. Check him out on Twitch. He's a homie of mine. But I've been listening to a lot of rap lately, and I actually went back recently and listened to Jedi Mind Tricks, Servants in Hell, Kings in Heaven, which I don't know if I've ever had the chance to fully listen to that record until recently. But the beats on it are he's an aggressive rapper, and everything is pretty hard and gangster on that record, but the beats,
storytelling stuff.
Yeah, the beats especially are something that stand out specifically for me, because they're just like, they've got a good flow of the old school with what was pretty current at the time, with like a modern style. And actually, what's kind of cool is, like, I think a deluxe version of that record features a remix of Heavy Metal Kings with Scott Vogel doing like there's like a terror remix of the song.
That's some real recognize real shit.
That happened in like 2005, so that's fucking sick. So that's what I've been listening to, some real gangster rap, I guess. Right on, folks. Thank you for hanging out with us and sticking around and coming out to the show that you're going to come out to, because I know you're coming out.
For sure.
And with our talk about Etid and Jordan and Keith and our conversation with the chap, that was awesome. If you aren't already, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Bandecdotes, Bandecdotes. That's where we're doing most of our updates. You mentioned threads earlier in the episode. I should probably get on that. I should probably get a Bandecdotes threads going, because,
might as well.
It's
growing pretty quick.
It's another social platform, and I think everyone, it's growing pretty quick.
So maybe follow us on Threads. Maybe that exists by the time you see this.
Yeah,
Who knows?
And also, give this video a like and follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube. That'd be great.
Thank you.